Welcome to The Real Story. This week in Reno, Nevada, a local television station was tipped off that a business was flying a Mexican flag above the U.S. flag. The station decided to check out the rumor, and kudos to them for that. I mean, I just would have run with it, but they've got standards apparently. So they sent a camera guy out to film it, and this is what they caught. But while the camera guy was there, something extraordinary happened.
That is what happened, right there. I'm Jim Brossard, and I took this flag down in honor of my country with a flag, with a knife from the United States Army. I'm a veteran. I'm not going to see this done to my country. If they want to fight us, then they need to be men, and they need to come and fight us. But I want somebody to fight me for this flag. They're not going to get it back.
All right, when I first heard this story, I tried to decide, is this guy a patriot or a vigilante? I thinking he's a veteran, he seems sane on one hand, but then you can't have people running around and doing this. But then I realized, what am I doing? This is not the point of the story. The real story is that Americans are sick and tired of our government not enforcing our own laws. We are tired as Americans of being told that the country that we love, the values that we stand for need to change, or that we're the ones who are out of step. We're the ones that have to give up our traditions and bow to political correctness. You know, there is a poem engraved on the base of the Statue of Liberty that immigration activists love to recite. Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled, blotty, blotty, blotty. The important part of that poem, the part that nobody ever wants to repeat, is the last line. For I lift my lamp beside the golden door. The golden door. Man, you don't put a golden door on a shack or a porta potty. You put it on a special, revered place. How many of us are sick and tired of hearing that our country is not a special place, that we're just no different? We're just like every other country. Who are you to say we're not worth fighting for? We're not a special place. Well, I say, damn it, yes, we are. Jim Brossard heard a story about America once again being thrown into the corner like a dirty rag, and he snapped. Well, I got news for you, gang. Unless we start reconnecting with common sense and values, unless all Republicans and Democrats stop acting like political operatives and start acting like Americans, there's much more of this to come. Jim Brossard is the U.S. Army veteran that you saw in that clip, and Bill Manders is the radio talk show host in Reno for KKOH. And Bill, you were on the air, right? So you're the hate-mongering racist. And what were you?
Oh yeah, I'm the racist, the hate monger, the you know the names.
I know, I hear them all the time. So what were you saying? What were you saying on the air that caused this?
You know, what started all this, Glenn, was, and by the way, thank you very much for having us on your program. We appreciate it. But the whole thing started several months back when I made the announcement that I thought all radio and television stations in the United States of America should speak English. And, of course, at that point, I was called a racist. And then the other day, I got an email from someone who showed me this flag being flown above the United States flag. It was the Mexican flag. And they're all over this city, by the way. Wannabe car lots are putting them up. I mean, it's crazy here, Glenn. And I got to tell you something. When I talked about the story, the next thing I knew is this guy sitting next to me here called and said that he had gone over and taken down the Mexican flag and took the American flag with him.
All right, Jim, listen, I appreciate your service to our country. I really do, sir, sincerely. I thank you. And I can understand your frustration. But doesn't this make you, in a way, a vigilante? I mean, is it... I understand your frustration. Help me understand that you're not a guy who just goes out and does this stuff.
You know, Glenn, it's a pleasure being and an honor being in your presence on this show. I find that it's just intolerable the way the laws are misconstrued and changed to accommodate those who would just love to break our laws. You know, it's consistently that identity theft is a problem. These flags are being hoisted, and they're not hoisted out of good intention. They're hoisted in intent to solicit a reaction.
Are you the kind of guy that does this? I mean, what was it that said, you know what, I'm getting into my car and I'm going to take care of it myself? What was it?
What it was is it's just that I'm fed up, like you said earlier. I have had enough of people just stepping on our laws, on our beliefs of our nation. We're a nation of people. We are talking English and able to have this program right now as a result of our forefathers who have fought diligently and died for this flag.
Bill,
I have a mother that called me, Joy Morisco, Raul Bravo. Son died on 3/3/01 in Iraq. She's livid that they did this.
Okay.
You know, Glenn, one of the things that's happening. Let me just say one thing about this, because he's.
Go ahead.
He's not a nutcase, okay? I want you to know that. I want everybody else to know that.
No.
What he is an American patriot, and there are millions of them out there. He just happens to be the one in the limelight right now, but there will be more the more we have to put up with this, because we have gone way past tolerance.
Okay, Bill,
Glenn,
Jim, I
I
got to run, guys, but I'm telling you, buckle up. The ACLU is coming for you. Now, we got to switch to the threats coming out of Russia. Lately, they're pretty hard to keep up with, so let me recap the last year for you quickly. They're killing journalists and government dissenters. They are resuming long-range nuclear bomber flights. They're buzzing our Air Force bases. They're claiming that the North Pole is their territory. They're threatening to cut off oil and gas to their neighbors, which has caused an energy panic in Europe. They are blocking our sanctions on Iran. They're testing the father of all bombs, the biggest bomb now in the world. They're pulling out of NATO arms treaties. They've dropped Dud missiles on their neighbors as a warning. They have launched cyber attacks against one of their former republics. And now, after the U.S. successfully completed a test of our national missile defense program, Russia is threatening us with a full-fledged arms race. Most experts will tell you that this is just empty threats and more propaganda. The real story is, why listen to the experts when you got a bozo like me? I believe that this proves that Russia has learned their own history. They understand that we won the Cold War with dollars, not soldiers. We bankrupt them. Now our economy is teetering. Our debt is piling up. Our people are divided. Did you see the last segment? Our armies are involved in controversial wars, and they are using the playbook written by Ronald Reagan against us. The sad part is, we're just too damn arrogant to recognize it. Paul Joyal is the Vice President of National Strategies and an expert on Russia. Paul, please tell me, I mean, you a sunshine and lollipop guy tonight? Are you going to say, oh, Glenn, this is no big deal, don't worry about it?
No, it's a serious deal, because the other part of the equation, which you didn't mention, is that Mr. Putin accused us of imperialism. The U.S. is an imperialist country, and they're starting the arms race. So this cuts both ways.
Okay. So, but this is also, I mean, even those people who say this is just propaganda, it's not just propaganda. I mean, I can understand it as propaganda in their own country to, you know, to ratchet up jingoism and nationalism, et cetera, but this is empowering our enemies. Tell me, Paul, that it doesn't empower Venezuela. It doesn't kick up everything in the Middle East a notch to have this superpower stand against us and show this power whether it's real or not.
Glenn, you're absolutely correct. It does empower our adversaries. And matter of fact, it's also directed to intimidate Europe. When you say arms race, it scares the Europeans. When you call the U.S. imperialist, it empowers Iran to pursue their nuclear ambitions because they're just trying to protect ourselves. And Russia will use this effectively in the UN to dilute, if not stop, any efforts to stop the Iran nuclear program.
Okay, Paul, I'm not an expert on, well, I'm quite frankly not a damn thing. But I've been thinking recently, and you're the guy to explain it, see if you can do it in a minute. Where did all the communists go? I mean, I've been thinking about this in the world's history. When has a country this size and with this much love for it inside and the love for the system just collapsed without any kind of bloodshed? There were no communists on the streets trying to get communist Russia or Soviet Union back together. Every day, we just woke up one day and it was over and everybody was a social democrat. I don't think communism ever went away. It just renamed itself and restarted. Wrong?
Communism did not go away. The mentality, the totalitarian mechanism did not go away. It collapsed under its own weight. But the Russian people never saw themselves, or the communists never saw themselves as defeated by the U.S. They just thought that they couldn't manage their books any longer. So the mentality is still there, and now that they're getting stronger, they're moving back to their old ways.
Okay, Paul, thanks. That's the real story tonight, gang. Yeah.